What's up, y'all? It's Truth Tiger, and I'm going to talk today about why people love toxic relationships. I know this video might be a little bit controversial, it might be a little bit spicy. The purpose of this video is just to talk about this. It's not to attack anyone or anything like that, but yeah, we're going to talk about why people love toxic relationships. And in the past, I can admit there are sometimes toxic people who, were able to turn on some charm or, appeal to me in some way or another where I wanted to be around them. I have fallen into this trap myself. So, this is for all of us. But yeah, I'm going to talk about why people will oftentimes, unfortunately, choose a toxic person over a healthy person, and why healthy people will sometimes be overlooked. And, the first thing is toxic people have a lot of fake charm, they have a lot of fake charisma, they will do mirroring, they will pretend to like the things that you like, and they will pretend like they have a lot more going on than they actually do. They will future fake and act like, and when I say relationship, I mean friendship too. I'm just using the word relationship here kind of broadly, but they will future fake and act like you and them can have all this potential together. They a lot of times will love bomb and will idealize you a lot and will give you a lot of compliments and will boost your ego. And all those things are very here and now appealing. And in the here and now, like, it feels good to receive that, even if it's not genuine. And, with that kind of stuff, all of a sudden they'll start to be critical, they'll start to be controlling, domineering. They may also just discard you, and then all of a sudden they're not answering your calls or texts. You're like, what the heck? They don't want to be your friend anymore. Or, there's weird things that are going to come after that, and there's betrayals that are going to come after that. But I think a lot of people just really do like that initial phase because I think it appeals to them in two ways. One, this person is telling them everything they want to hear and is boosting them. And then one, this person is acting like they're, because when you want someone in your life, especially a romantic partner, but even a friend, you want to think like, oh, my friend is legit, like he's a cool friend. And then for a romantic partner, you want to think like my romantic partner, my husband, my wife, my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. You want to think like, man, they got it going on. They're going to go places, You want to like feel like you've landed someone good. Like, if I have this friend and he's so cool, that must mean I'm cool. And I was able to, I was able to catch, I was able to land, I was able to hook in and reel in this really awesome, cool friend. So that must mean I'm really cool. And how much more so for romantic relationships where you feel like, oh man, like I struck gold here. I caught this really big fish. You really feel like, because you're believing in the lies of this person, you're believing in this person's BS. You really feel like you got this, like, whatever, this sort of A plus person, when in fact you have received an F minus person. You have received the absolute opposite of that. But initially, it can feel like you have received a good thing when you have not. So I would say those two things that they do, where they idealize you and make you feel very good about yourself and make you feel special and you feel needed and all that stuff, and then they make themselves feel like they're this great catch, and you're very lucky that you have them in your life. When as a matter of fact, it's completely the opposite. But unfortunately, a lot of people will fall for that bait and switch. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people kind of want the delusion. They want the lie. They want the BS. They sort of want to be lied to and to be manipulated a bit, if you will, because I think when it comes to looking at reality for most people, they don't want to look at reality. They don't want to look at the reality of who they are. We all have flaws. We're not all that great. We all have our ups and downs. They don't want to look at themselves and say, hey, like, I'm not a perfect person. I have flaws. They don't want to look at that. And then, how much more so they don't want to look at the people that they have in their life, or, the people that they really are, I guess, on the same frequency with. They don't really want to, because it's like they don't like the reflection of themselves, and then the people in their life, they feel like that's a bad reflection of themselves too, and they don't really want to get honest like about the genuine people in their life. And I'm trying to like describe this in the right way, but it's like they sort of realize that like the regular people around them aren't like these shining, bright, whatever. The regular people around them are like having a bad back, and the regular people around them are like just living their life normally. The regular people around them aren't like, there's no like glamour to them, I guess. Maybe there's no glamour to it. So it's like they want like they want to feel like there's something extra or something special, or they want that feeling of like the regular people around them don't boost their ego. I think I found it. The regular people around them don't boost their ego the way that having like a narcissist person, a toxic person does. It's not that same kind of ego boost. And the next part of it is like people love drama. That's a big part of it, is people love drama and ridiculousness. And a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, I should say pretty much the vast majority of people, the vast majority of people don't have like things going on in their life. They don't really have much of a life of their own. They don't really have a good sense of themselves. So they're constantly looking for like external drama to attach themselves to. They're trying to attach themselves to external drama. They need that like entertainment. They need that drama to like feel alive. And if drama is not being provided to them by the people around them, they will become very bored of those people and not want to like be around, not really want to deal with those people, because all that drama, it's like it's fun. It takes them on this emotional roller coaster. And I mean, it ends up leaving them with nothing, and they end up getting really screwed over by the end of it. But a lot of people want that emotional roller coaster. They want things to get wild and things to get crazy. And like, let me tell you, like if you actually are a good person and you do the right thing and you go on your mission and you're on your purpose, you're going to have a lot of drama and craziness and wildness and adventure, more than you can handle, anyways. So once you start to actually have a good goal and a good purpose and a good mission, you don't want drama anymore. You don't want to ride a roller coaster that whatever could fall apart at any moment and will fall apart at any moment and will crash and will leave you high and dry. You don't want that, You're like, I have to like go through this jungle and cut down these vines, and I got to kill these snakes, and I got to like, when you're on your actual mission, when you're on your actual adventure in life, which is a separate video, but when you are on your actual life adventure, life mission, you don't need all this external drama. And you definitely don't need dramatic people in your life, because it's like, I don't need that stupid soap opera to keep me distracted from the fact that, I have nothing going on, because I have stuff going on. I have a lot of stuff going on. And that's just the truth, is most people deep down, they don't really have a lot going on. They're kind of just living in the matrix, going to work, doing this, doing that, and they really feel like an empty shell. And when you have some drama narcissist person and we have all this stuff going on and this and that, and they come in with all this drama and all this toxicity and ridiculousness, it all of a sudden feels like, oh, now I'm not bored anymore. There's something actually happening around here for once, And I think people really cling on to that. I think people really do. I also think people like to feel needed. And like toxic people are like weird, awful little bratty children. They're like awful little bratty children. And I think a lot of the times it's like people are like, I guess you could say like codependent, and they want to feel needed, and they want to feel like a caretaker, and they want to feel like they're taking care of this toxic person, and they're like this parental figure to this toxic person, and they whatever, they have to change the diapers of this toxic person, if you will, and they like feeling needed by this toxic person, and it gives them a weird sense of purpose in their life. And I don't know, but a lot of people are picking toxic people over good people, positive people. And I think really the last reason is most people are behind in their journey. They have not necessarily become narcissists or toxic people yet, but they're on that journey. They're on that road, and they're not really where they should be. They are behind in their life mission, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. And because they are behind, in their life mission, and behind, in what they should be doing for themselves, and, for God and for the universe, and however you want to think of it, they're not being the person they need to be. And when they're around someone who is that person they need to be, when they're around someone who is positive, when they're around someone who's about truth and about morality and ethics and doing the right thing, that person makes them feel very judged. Even if that person isn't judging them, that person makes them feel very judged, and they feel like that person will reject them because that person is going to say, like, why should I deal with this person, So they feel like they're going to be rejected by this person, and they also feel like this person is not going to tolerate their games and their immaturity and their BS, and they're going to have to improve and kind of get themselves into better shape. Whereas a toxic person who's much worse off than they are, that person's not going to require them to change or want them to change. That person is not going to make them feel quote unquote judged or anything like that. And they're not going to look at that person and be like, man, I could be doing better. They're going to look at that person and they're going to think, oh, I'm fine where I'm at. At least I'm not him. At least I'm not her, That's what they're going to do. And the irony of it is that someone who's actually a good person, who's a positive person, actually won't judge others and will just try to help people out and is humble enough to know that we all have our own struggles, so why judge another person? Whereas the toxic narcissist is going to be super judgmental. It's going to be judging them and criticizing them on everything and making them feel like they're not good enough and all this stuff. And, that's the irony of it. But I just think like being around a decent, non-toxic, positive person, I think it's also like they just don't relate to that. That's not what they understand. It's not what they're used to being around. It's not what they're oriented toward. It's not what they're programmed around. And when they're around a normal, healthy, whatever, like well-regulated, positive person, they don't know how to act. It's just not what they're used to, and it feels very foreign to them, and it's just like this new, scary kind of thing. And they're used to dealing with toxicity and with toxic people because that's kind of the default mode of the world anyways. And, I have a few more points here, but that is the default mode of the world anyways. So it's the world they're born into. People are used to being toxic. People are used to narcissists and narcissism and toxic people, manipulative people, bullying people, people who will do anything to get attention and to get their way, and they're used to that, and it's what they're used to dealing with. And on some level, if they stop taking part in that, whether that's taking part in that themselves or being an enabler to that, they will not fit into society in the same way anymore, and they will become an outsider. and they don't want that. They want to be like everybody else. So if you want to be like everybody else, you have to be a part of the toxicity that everyone is collectively participating in. You have to be a part of that, and they want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of the collective. So they will choose toxic people. And, the next point, and this is probably my last point, but the next point is most of us, I think the vast, vast majority of us have grown up in toxic homes, narcissistic homes, manipulative homes, whatever you want to call it, but we've grown up around a lot of toxicity, and we were raised by toxicity, and we're used to toxicity, and that's what we think what love is. That's what we think friendship is. That's what we think community is. That's what we think marriage is. That's what we think all that stuff is. It's all this, we're always trying to fight and control each other, and people are being bossed around, and everyone's backstabbing each other. That's what we think like a relationship is. And it's not that. And I've had to really work hard to break that out of my mind and, step out of that paradigm. Sorry, I got a hiccup here, but I think most people do not want to step out of that paradigm. They don't want to have to face that. They don't want to have to face that within themselves. They don't want to have to deal with that, So they want to keep that paradigm alive, and they don't want to heal from their broken, childhood wounds. They don't want to go back to the stuff that happened to them as a little kid and, really acknowledge it and reconcile it and accept the damage that it caused and, to try to fix that and to move forward, to move forward in a better way. And I think they don't want to have to face all that. They don't want to have to accept that or deal with that or anything, They just want to sort of leave that as it is. And part of leaving that as it is to be a participant in toxicity and to be a participant in toxic relationships, That's part of it. And yeah, it's tough. And I've made a few mistakes myself where I have chosen to have some toxic friends that I should not have had. And I have made a few mistakes where I have chosen to, I don't want to say date, but I've chosen to be romantically involved with toxic people I should not have been involved with. And, there's things that I did where I was toxic myself and I was not doing the right stuff. There's mistakes I've made in the past of all these kinds of sorts, and I have to face that, and I have to own that, and I have to take accountability for that. And, what were there bad influences, and were there people who hurt me, and were there people who set me on the wrong path, and were there people who did the wrong stuff to sort of, set me on the wrong road? Sure, but at the end of the day, it's my life. I have to take ownership. I have to take 100% ownership. I really do. There's no other way to do it. It's my life. I have to take 100% ownership, and I have to accept this stuff for what it is and move forward and own my own decisions 100%. And I think a lot of people, they don't want to do that, and they want to act like oh, I'm stuck with this person, oh, I have no control over it or whatever. And it's, you do have control. And there's situations I've been in where people came into my life and it was not in my control. Bad coworkers, whatever. There's situations that have happened that were outside of my control, but there's also situations that were in my control. So you have to sort of recognize, which situation is in your control and which situation is out of your control. And ultimately, you have to have control of your own life and decide what you accept and what you do not accept, And you got to set boundaries too, You got to set boundaries. You do. And that's a big part of the lesson, is to set boundaries and to uphold those boundaries and to not let them get crossed over. For real. For real. And, a lot of people are stuck in this trap of, I guess you could call it codependency, and they're stuck in a trap of enabling, and they're stuck in a trap of like just messing with the wrong people they should not be hanging out with, and it's a very sad thing to see, but it'll suck them dry, when they keep making these bad choices and stuff. And a lot of people, they're not taking accountability either, They marry these people, they have children with these people, they take things so far, because you could end up in a relationship with someone, you thought they were normal, you thought they were cool, whatever. Maybe there were people in the community that were kind of pushing you guys to get together, or maybe you were young, you were in your early 20s, you thought they were cool, whatever. But then to stay married to them, have kids with them, whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to judge anybody or anything like that at all when I say this, but then to kind of stay in that situation for years and years and years. And again, I'm not judging. This could be me. This literally could be me. And there are situations with narcissists that I have enabled. I've enabled stuff too. I'm not saying that like I'm trying to blame people or anything, but to stay in that for years and years and years, and to have kids with that person and to do all this stuff, like at some point it's like you got to look in the mirror and be like, why did I just let myself get taken advantage of? Why did I just like let myself like get like punked out and manipulated? You got to look in the mirror and be like, why did I let myself get cheated? Because, and I know I'm kind of dragging this video on, but a lot of times, like, people will get scammed or cheated or something like that, and they'll try to act like it didn't really happen, or it wasn't as bad as it was, or whatever, like, I remember when I was like, I want to say 13, 14 years old, and I was kind of like hanging out with some friends. I was kind of like off on my own, doing my own stuff a little bit, kind of young to be doing that, but whatever. And I remember like there was this like kind of like this like kind of guy who was like a kind of homeless guy, hustler, beggar, scam artist, whatever kind of guy. And he came up to me and he tells me this whole sob story about his phone doesn't work and my car's out of gas and whatever. I think I ended up giving him maybe $5 or $6 or something like that. I gave him $5 and some quarters or something. And I was telling my friends about it. And one of them was telling me, you got scammed. And I'm like, oh no, he really needed help. And I only gave him $3. I didn't give him $5. And there was this feeling of embarrassment where I didn't want to admit that someone got over on me. You know what I mean? And I think for a lot of cases, a lot of people in these situations don't want to admit that like someone got over on them and that they made a bad investment and that they like lost out on stuff. And that's a hard thing to have to like face, but some people can face that and can be like, man, like this freaking person stole 20 years of my life, Whereas other people are like, no, it was good because, well, there were good things that came out of it. It wasn't all a wash, And people want to idealize and act like it was actually good when it wasn't. And people are not going to be real about this stuff, And people need to be real about this stuff. And like one more point also is like, you're that toxic person that you're going to enable or that they're going to enable or that whatever, that toxic person that people are going to bring around, like now that toxic person, you're bringing them around your friends, your family. A lot of times I've seen people that they'll bring them around their own children, I've seen that one a lot where it's like, yo, why are you letting this like weird dude up around? I've seen it with a woman who had kids and it's like this weird, creepy, much older, narcissist, toxic, weird, on again, off again boyfriend or something. And I remember telling this person like, yo, like your own children don't want to be around this guy. He treats you weird. He's a liar. Like, why are you bringing this fool around and letting him live at your house and stuff, Like, really? But they don't think about, like, the fact that this stuff affects the people around them, they don't think about that. It's like there's people around, they don't understand that like there's people around them, and that bringing these like kind of these narcissists and these toxic people, and having every boyfriend or girlfriend has to be some weirdo, or they got all these weirdo friends or whatever. It's like they don't understand that this affects people around them. This affects their family and their friends and their community negatively. It does. And they don't acknowledge that. They do not acknowledge that whatsoever. The fact that like these weird people they bring around are like damaging. And I've heard stories of like stuff like this where someone's setting someone up on a date and oh, he's a really great guy, whatever, and the guy turns out to be totally weird, totally creepy, and it's like, you probably could have seen that one from a mile away, but they're enablers, they're weird, whatever. I've also seen it with a guy who's with a girl and his girlfriend is like obviously cheating. It's like plain as day, and I'm trying to tell him like, it's kind of weird that your girlfriend spends the night at her ex's place. Like, no, dude, they're hanging out, they're patching things up, they have a lot to talk about. Like, I've literally had that conversation, and I'm like, dude, your girl is cheating, man. Like, what are you doing, But they don't want to see the daylight, They just don't want to. They don't want to see the daylight. They don't want to accept that like these people are toxic and weird. They don't want to accept like how bad it actually is, They want to act like it's less. They want to act like it's not really happening to them, Like I remember like I had an identity theft thing happen to me, and I had a $5,000 identity theft thing just like a month ago. Huge pain to deal with. And when I first got the piece of mail that informed me that like, why do I have this bank account and why is there money taken out? What the heck? Like I thought it was a joke or a misprint, or I thought it was fake. And then it took like a while for me to be like, oh shit, this is real. What the heck? And I think for them, they want to stay in that first phase of like, nah, this isn't happening. It's not a big deal. It's not for real. To get to the second phase of, oh crap, this is real. Oh crap, I have to make a lot of phone calls now. Or, oh crap, I gotta move out of the house with this person. Or, oh crap, this roommate's gotta go. Oh crap, I have to divorce this person. Oh crap, I have to break up with this person. Oh crap, I need to get all these weird friends out of my life. Oh crap, But I think a lot of people are not having that oh shit moment. They don't want to get there. They don't want to see it as it really is. They don't want to accept the situation for what it is. They want to make excuses for these people and for this situation. And the reason why they make all these excuses, it's their own pride, It's their own pride. If you bought something and it was like a bad purchase, you bought a bad outfit and you spent $100-200 on it, and now you're trying to act like it's good and you didn't waste your money. It's that same kind of thing. It's like they don't want to have that buyer's remorse. They don't want to have the buyer's remorse. So they're all like, oh, it was a good. And they don't want to accept that they make bad choices and bad decisions. We're all capable of making bad choices. We can all be tricked and deceived and gotten over on and stuff. It can happen to all of us. It's just, what do you do afterwards? What do you do once you find out you got lied to, you got tricked, whatever? What do you do afterwards? You act like it's fine and it's not a big deal, or do you go, oh, this is a big deal. I need to do something about it, And I think a lot of people also just don't want to stand up for themselves. They don't want to make genuine changes. And they think they can make it work too. Like so many people I've heard, they think they can make it work. If I just talk to him, we can make it work. I'm going to take her to therapy. I'm taking her to all these therapists, and I've heard all of it. And I talked to him. He said he's going to change. He said he's going to stop. I'm like, that's going to last about a week. I've heard that one. I've heard I'm taking her to therapy, and we're seeing all these therapists, and I'm going to fix her, and I'm going to fix him. No, you're not. Stop, you know? Stop. But yeah, I think I'm all done on this video. I think I've said what I want to say here, but yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Much love. I really, really appreciate you all. And yeah, Truth Tiger is out.